Hey everyone, it's me, Dr. Whimsy. Thanks for tuning in. Today I wanted to have a really brief conversation about resistant belly fat. Resistant belly fat. And the reason that we're talking about resistant belly fat today is because a lot of my patients, a lot of the people that come to see me, it's because they have trouble reducing or eliminating fat that accumulates around the belly. I think this is more of a problem with women than men, and part of that is because women tend to hold a lot of fat in the belly. But I certainly see an increase in abdominal belly fat in women over the age of 40. It's part of a symptom picture that I have called menopause belly. Menopause belly is when you have not only an increase in abdominal belly fat, but you also may see an increase in irritable bowel syndromes, gas, bloating, upset stomach. Sometimes I'll also see GERD in this population. That's gastroesophageal reflux disease. Basically, a lot of digestive problems, even in people who didn't have a history of digestive problems prior to menopause. That's really the symptom picture that I see in my office quite a bit. That resistant belly fat combined with irritable bowel syndrome. So in a patient like that, if we've ruled out any other possible cause of the abdominal belly fat, IBS-like symptoms, the first thing I like to do is to begin to focus on the diet, and it's really a diet of elimination. Even people who don't think that they have a problem with certain foods, I tend to ask them to give up a food for about 8 weeks before we retest it. That is an elimination diet. So what are some of the things that I first start to eliminate in people who have resistant belly fat? Probably top of the list, I would say, is gluten. I don't give up all grains. Contrary to popular belief, I don't believe that grains cause obesity. There are actually very few people who suffer from obesity in grain-based societies, like, for example, parts of Asia where sometimes up to 50% of the caloric intake is rice, and yet we don't see resistant belly fat necessarily in those populations. So we don't have to give up grains entirely in order to get that flat belly, but you may want to start with just gluten, specifically wheat. That is really where we start to see the problems coming in, not just the resistant belly fat, but actually pain in the belly, gas, bloating, upset stomach. It's as if the digestive system has begun to break down. If the digestive system does begin to break down and we start seeing other symptoms like acne, eczema, psoriasis, migraine headache, etc., then we could be looking at a condition like leaky gut, what's called leaky gut, and that's where we actually see a breakdown of the digestive tract and an inflammatory response that can have an effect on not only digestive symptoms, but also skin health, etc. So that's the first thing we pull. It's amazing that just by pulling gluten, I sometimes will see within 8 weeks that particular individual will have sometimes up to 50% improvement, and certainly we see a loss of or a decline in that belly fat. And that may happen even if we don't reduce caloric intake all that much. So first on the list, I always pull gluten. The other thing I pull is sugar, all kinds of sugar. That includes corn syrup and diet sodas or processed foods that have sugar substitutes in them. Those are the two things I cannot stress enough that I pull in the case of resistant belly fat: gluten-containing foods and sugar. There are some sugar substitutes that I don't think have a negative impact on abdominal belly fat. I think xylitol, people do fine with that. Stevia is another sweetener that I think people do fine with. I am leery of diet soda because I just think that there's quite a bit of evidence that the chemicals found, NutraSweet, Splenda, those types of chemicals that are found in diet sodas are toxic. All right, so that is my little tip for today. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on this, but if you do find that you are struggling with resistant belly fat and you're doing everything right, you may want to start by simply cutting out gluten and all processed food products that contain sugar, corn syrup, and other types of sugar in them. Eat a whole foods diet, give up the gluten, give up all that sugar, and you would be amazed at how much improvement you may experience in your digestion. If you'd like to find out more about how to stay healthy from 40, 50, 60 and beyond, you can reach out to me. My name is Dr. Whimsy Anderson, and you can go to my website, drwhimsy.com. I'm available here in Los Angeles if you'd like to come see me, and also online through telemedicine if you need some naturopathic medical coaching. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.